The morning sky over Seoul was bright blue when the first ships appeared. Commander Hyun-woo Park was drinking coffee in his office at the Terran Defense Headquarters when the alarm started screaming. He dropped his cup and ran to the window. Above the city, massive alien ships hung in the air like dark clouds. "Sir, we have incoming transmissions," his aide called out. Hyun-woo rushed to the communication center. On the main screen, an alien face appeared. It had pale gray skin, 4 eyes, and no expression that humans could understand. "Primitive species detected," the alien said in perfect English. "This planet contains life forms that do not belong to the Vakari Empire. Planetary sterilization authorized. Compliance is extinction." The transmission ended. Hyun-woo stared at the blank screen. "What does that mean?" someone asked. They found out 30 seconds later. Light fell from the alien ships like rain, but this rain burned everything it touched. Buildings melted. Streets turned to glass. People ran screaming, but there was nowhere to hide. The alien weapons reached everywhere. Hyun-woo watched his city die in minutes. The defense headquarters shook as beams hit nearby buildings. "All units evacuate immediately," he shouted into his radio. "This is not a drill. This is extinction." Dr. So-Young Kim was in her laboratory when the attack began. She was studying samples from the first alien contact 3 months ago. The Vakari had sent a small ship then, claiming they wanted peace. They had given humans gifts and technology. They had smiled with their strange faces and spoken of friendship. It had all been lies. So-Young grabbed her research files and ran for the emergency exits. Outside, the sky was full of fire. The laboratory building exploded behind her. She dove into a transport ship just as it lifted off. Through the window, she saw her life's work burning. "Where are we going?" she asked the pilot. "Space Station New Horizon," he replied. "If it still exists." Around the world, the same scene played out. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, Cairo. Every major city burned under alien fire. The Vakari ships moved slowly across Earth like farmers harvesting crops. But they were not harvesting. They were killing. Admiral Min-ho Lee was already in space when the attack started. He commanded the orbital defense fleet, 12 ships that were supposed to protect Earth. But his weapons could barely scratch the alien hull armor. His plasma cannons did nothing. His missiles exploded harmlessly against their shields. "Sir, we need to retreat," his tactical officer said. "We cannot fight them." Min-ho watched the planet below turning red with fire. 10 billion people lived on Earth. In 1 hour, most of them would be dead. "All ships fall back to the outer system," he ordered. "Save what we can." It hurt to give that order. It felt like running away. But staying meant dying for nothing. The Vakari had 40 ships in Earth orbit. Each one was 5 times larger than the biggest human vessel. They moved with perfect coordination like parts of a machine. They covered every continent, every ocean, every island. Nothing escaped their attention. Captain Ji-hai Choi was on a transport ship evacuating civilians from the lunar colonies. Her ship was full of families, mothers holding babies, children crying for their parents on Earth. She tried to stay calm for them, but inside she was breaking. "Captain, we have refugees from the Australian stations," her communications officer reported. "They say Sydney is gone. Melbourne is gone. The whole continent is burning." Ji-hai closed her eyes. Her sister lived in Brisbane. Her parents lived in Busan. They were all gone now. Everyone was gone. How many ships made it out? She asked. "Maybe 100, carrying about 50,000 people total." 50,000. Out of 10 billion. The numbers did not make sense. How could so many people just disappear? Engineer Taemin Yoon was working on Earth's moon when the attack happened. He watched through his telescope as his home planet died. The alien weapons made the atmosphere glow red. Clouds of ash covered the continents. The oceans boiled. "We should have seen this coming," he whispered. His assistant, Daeun Han, stood next to him. She was an intelligence officer, trained to find hidden threats. But none of them had seen this. "They planned it perfectly," Daeun said. "The gifts, the technology sharing, the friendly meetings. They were studying us, learning our weaknesses." "Why?" Taemin asked. "Why kill everyone? We never threatened them." Daeun had been studying the Vakari language for months. She had started to understand how they thought. "To them, we are insects," she said. "You do not negotiate with insects. You just spray them." The evacuation continued for 6 more hours. Human ships rescued people from space stations, moon bases, and asteroid mines. The survivors gathered at a few hidden locations in the outer solar system. When the count was finished, the number was terrible. 53 million humans remained alive. On a planet that had held 10 billion. Admiral Min-Ho Lee called a meeting of all surviving commanders. They met on the space station New Horizon, hidden behind Jupiter's largest moon. The station was built to hold 10,000 people. Now it held 20,000 refugees. The Earth is dead, Min-Ho announced. Our sensors show no life signs on the surface. The atmosphere is poisoned. The oceans are boiling. It will take 1,000 years for the planet to heal. Commander Hyun-Woo Park stood up. His uniform was torn and dirty. He had not slept since the attack. What about the Vakari? Are they still there? They left 12 hours ago, reported Captain Sung-Hwan Oh. Their ships jumped to hyperspace. As far as they know, the job is done. Dr. So-Young Kim looked at the data on her tablet. I intercepted some of their communications during the attack. They called it Operation Clean Sweep. They have done this before, many times. The room was silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Earth was not special. Humanity was not the first species to die this way. How many? Asked Colonel Yoo-Jin Park, Hyun-Woo's sister. I found records of 23 other planets, So-Young replied. All sterilized. All empty now. We would have been number 24. Would have been. Scientist Dong-Hyun Lim noticed her exact words. So-Young smiled for the first time since the attack. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone planning revenge. They think we are extinct. They think the job is finished. They are wrong. Admiral Min-Ho Lee stood up slowly. He was 60 years old and had fought in 3 wars. But he had never seen anything like this. What are you suggesting, Doctor? The Vakari Empire spans 47 star systems, 200 worlds, trillions of citizens. They are strong because no one fights back. No one survives their attacks. So-Young's voice grew harder. But we survived. 53 million of us. That is 53 million more than they expected. Communications specialist Haiwan Young raised her hand. I have been monitoring their networks. They filed a report saying Earth was successfully cleansed. The sector is marked as empty space. They are not watching us anymore. Then we have an advantage, Hyun-Woo said. They think we are dead. What can we do? Someone asked. They have hundreds of ships. We have maybe 20 that can fight. Engineer Tae-min Yoon stood up. During the evacuation, he had been studying pieces of Vakari technology left behind. We cannot fight them directly. But we do not have to. We just have to be smarter. Explain, Min-Ho ordered. They are strong but lazy. They have ruled the galaxy for so long that they stopped being careful. Their security is weak. Their systems are outdated. They think no one can hurt them. Tae-min smiled the same cold smile as So-Young. We are going to prove them wrong. Sergeant Woo Jin Kang had lost his entire family in the attack. His wife, his 2 children, his parents, all gone in the first minute. He had nothing left except anger. What do you need from us, sir? Admiral Min-Ho Lee looked around the room. These people had lost everything. Their homes, their families, their entire world. But they were still here. Still fighting? I need volunteers, he said, for a mission that will take years. A mission that most of you will not survive. We are going to hunt down every Vakari ship, every Vakari world, every Vakari life. We are going to show them what extinction really means. The vote was unanimous. 53 million humans declared war on an empire of trillions. Operation Alien Extinction began that day. 6 months after Earth died, Captain Ji-Hai Choi floated in the darkness between stars. Her ship was small and black, invisible to most sensors. She called it Ghost 1. Around her, 5 other ghost ships waited in silence. Target approaching, whispered her pilot, Engineer Tae-min Yoon. On the screen, a massive Vakari transport ship moved slowly through space. It was carrying supplies to their military base on Kepler 442b. Remember the plan? Ji-Hai said into her radio. We watch, we learn, we disappear. No fighting today. The Vakari ship was huge, maybe 2 kilometers long. It moved lazily like a whale swimming through water. The aliens inside probably felt safe. Their empire had controlled this space for 300 years. Nothing had ever threatened them here. They were wrong. Ji-Hai's team attached small devices to the transport's hull. The devices were invisible and silent. They would record everything: ship movements, communication signals, crew patterns. The Vakari would never know they were being watched. Intelligence Officer Da-Un-Han, are you getting the transmissions? Ji-Hai asked. Yes, Captain. I'm recording all their radio traffic. Their language is becoming clearer to me. Dayun had spent months learning Vakari speech patterns. She was getting very good at it. The ghost ships followed the transport for 3 days. They watched it dock at the military base. They counted weapons, ships, and soldiers. They mapped the base's defenses. Then they vanished back into empty space. This was how the war began. Not with explosions or battles, but with watching and learning. Dr. So-Young Kim worked in a hidden laboratory inside an asteroid. She had been studying Vakari biology from the samples they left on Earth. The aliens were strong and intelligent, but they had weaknesses. Their immune system is very different from ours, she told Admiral Min-Ho Lee during their weekly meeting. They cannot fight certain types of diseases. Diseases that would not hurt humans at all. You want to make biological weapons? Min-Ho asked. I want to make tools, So-Young corrected. Tools that will help us fight an enemy 1,000 times stronger than we are. Around the solar system, other teams worked on different projects. Scientist Dong-Hyun Lim was building computer viruses that could attack Vakari technology. Engineer Taemin Yoon was designing new types of weapons using stolen alien materials. Sergeant Woo-Jin Kang trained Special Forces soldiers in zero-gravity combat. These soldiers would sneak onto enemy ships and stations. They would plant bombs, steal information, and disappear before anyone noticed. We are not trying to win battles, Woo-Jin told his recruits. We are trying to win a war. Battles are loud and obvious. Wars are won in the shadows. Captain Sung Hwan-oh commanded the assassination teams. His job was to eliminate important Vakari leaders. Not in big fights, but in quiet accidents that looked natural. A leader dies in his sleep, Sung Hwan explained to his team. The official report says heart failure. But we know the truth. We put something in his food that stopped his heart. Communications specialist Hae Won-young had the hardest job of all. She had to break into Vakari communication networks without being detected. This meant learning their technology better than they knew it themselves. I have been reading their military reports, she told the command staff. The Vakari Empire is not as strong as it looks. They have problems. What kind of problems? Asked Colonel Eugene Park. Rebellion on 12 worlds. Food shortages on 37 worlds. Political fighting between different Vakari clans. They are busy with their own troubles. This was useful information. If the Vakari were fighting each other, they would be less likely to notice human attacks. Intelligence Officer Da-Yoon Han made the most important discovery. She was studying Vakari culture and history when she found something terrible. Admiral, you need to see this, she said during an emergency meeting. I have translated their historical records. Earth was not their first target. She put a star map on the screen. 23 red dots marked dead solar systems. Each of these had intelligent life. The Vakari killed them all. Some had billions of people. Some had only millions. But they are all gone now. The room was silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The attack on Earth was routine for the Vakari. They had done it 23 times before. How long have they been doing this? Asked Admiral Min-Ho Lee. 1,000 years, Doan replied. They call it garden maintenance, and they believe the galaxy belongs to them. All other intelligent life is just weeds to be removed. Commander Hyun-Woo Park stood up slowly. His hands were shaking with anger. How many people, total? Approximately 200 billion intelligent beings, Da-Yoon said quietly. Murdered across 1,000 years. The number was too big to understand. 200 billion people. Entire species wiped out because the Vakari wanted their planets. There is more, Da-Eun continued. I found records of species that tried to fight back. The Vakari call them aggressive weeds. They get special treatment. What kind of special treatment? Dr. So-Young Kim asked. Complete extinction. Not just the home planet, but every colony, every ship, every trace that the species ever existed. The Vakari hunt down every survivor and kill them. Admiral Min-Ho Lee looked around the room. His officers were tired and angry. They had been living in hidden bases for months, preparing for a war they might not survive. So if they discover we are alive, they will not stop until every human is dead, he said. Correct, Da-Yoon replied. But there is good news too. None of the other species had our advantages. What advantages? Asked Engineer Taemin Yoon. First, we are already supposed to be extinct. They are not looking for us. Second, we captured a lot of their technology during the attack. We understand how their systems work. Third, we are very good at adapting and learning. Captain Ji-Hai Choi had been quiet during the meeting. Now she spoke up. And fourth, we are really, really angry. That got a few grim smiles from the officers. Admiral Min-Ho Lee made his decision. We moved to Phase 2. Dayun, I want you to monitor all Vakari communications. Every message, every report, every order. Haewon, start mapping their computer networks. Find ways to get inside without being detected. Yes, sir, both women replied. Jihai, expand the ghost ship program. I want surveillance on every major Vakari base within 50 light-years. Taemin, finish the new cloaking technology. We need ships that are completely invisible. Understood, Admiral. So Young, continue working on the biological agents. But remember, we are not trying to commit genocide. We are trying to win a war. I understand the difference, sir. Woojin, train more infiltration teams. We will need hundreds of them. Sunghwan, prepare target lists of important Vakari leaders. Start with military commanders, then move to political leaders. The meeting continued for 3 hours. They planned attacks on supply lines, communications hubs, and research facilities. Each operation would be small and quiet. The Vakari would think they were having technical problems, not being attacked by ghosts. 2 weeks later, the first ghost ship mission began. Captain Ji-Hai Choi took her team to a Vakari mining colony on Proxima Centauri B. The colony produced rare metals used in their ship armor. The ghost ships landed at night, invisible to all sensors. Sergeant Wu Jin Kang led a team of 20 soldiers into the mining facility. They moved like shadows through the alien corridors. Security is weak, Wu Jin reported. They have guards, but the guards are bored and lazy. They have never had to defend this place. The team planted small devices throughout the facility. Some were bombs that would explode later. Others were computer viruses that would slowly corrupt the mining equipment. A few were listening devices that would record conversations. The operation took 4 hours. The humans were never detected. They returned to their ships and vanished into space. 3 days later, the mining facility began having problems. Equipment broke down. Computer systems crashed. Production dropped by 60%. The Vakari engineers could not understand what was happening. Probable equipment aging, their report concluded. Recommend replacement of primary systems. The Vakari never suspected sabotage. They had been the dominant species for so long that they forgot other intelligent beings existed. Similar operations began across Vakari space. Supply convoys suffered mysterious accidents. Communication relays stopped working. Important officials died of strange illnesses that looked natural. The Vakari started to notice the pattern after 3 months. We are experiencing unusual technical difficulties across 17 sectors, reported Admiral Vex Nalar to the Vakari High Command. Equipment failure is normal, replied Supreme Commander Vex Thalan, the alien who had ordered Earth's destruction. Increase maintenance schedules. Yes, sir. But the failures are increasing exponentially, and they are affecting our most secure facilities. Then increase security. And find better engineers. The Vakari still did not understand. Their empire was under attack by an enemy they thought was extinct. An enemy that fought from the shadows, striking without warning and disappearing without trace. The ghosts of 10 billion humans had begun their hunt for revenge. Our citizens are afraid. What do our intelligence service 18 months into Operation Alien Extinction? The Vakari Empire was dying from 1,000 cuts. Supreme Commander Vex Thalan stood in his command center on the Empire's capital world, watching red lights flash across the strategic display. Each light represented a failed system, a destroyed facility, or a dead world. Report, he demanded. General Kex Valor stepped forward, his 4 eyes showing exhaustion. Sir, we have lost contact with 17 more outposts in the past week. The pattern is always the same. All communications stop, then our investigation ships find empty ruins. What about survivors? None, sir, but also no bodies. The facilities are simply empty, as if everyone just vanished. Vex Thalan turned to Dr. Kev Thalan, the scientist who had been warning about invisible enemies. Your theory about the extinct species? I want details. The doctor activated a holographic display. The attacks began exactly 18 months after we sterilized the 3rd planet in the Sol system. The techniques used are unlike any known Vakari methods, but they show clear signs of intelligence and planning. That proves nothing. Many species could be responsible. Sir, I have analyzed the attack patterns. The enemy knows our technology better than we do. They use our own systems against us. This suggests they have been studying us for a long time. Dr. Kev Thalan paused. Only one species had that opportunity. The humans from Earth. The room fell silent. Admitting this possibility meant admitting the Empire had failed in its most basic duty, the complete extermination of a target species. Far from the Vakari capital, Colonel Eugene Park materialized inside a heavily defended research facility on Kepler 438b. Her deep strike team had been perfecting the art of teleportation warfare. They could appear anywhere in the galaxy within seconds. Team Alpha, secure the main laboratory, she whispered into her radio. Team Beta, download all research data. Team Gamma, plant the quantum charges. We have 20 minutes. The facility was developing new shield technology that could protect Vakari ships from human attacks. If completed, the war would become much harder. That was why it had to be destroyed. Eugen moved through the corridors like a shadow. The Vakari guards were alert but confused. Their sensors detected nothing, but their instincts told them danger was near. Contact. Unknown hostiles in Section 7. A guard shouted into his radio. By the time reinforcements arrived, Eugen's team was already gone. The laboratory exploded in a ball of quantum fire that could be seen from orbit. Years of research vanished in an instant. Teleportation confirmed, Eugen reported to Admiral Minho Lee. The enemy is definitely using our own technology against us. They are learning faster than we expected. Back on the asteroid base New Horizon, scientist Dong-Hyun Lim watched his greatest creation spread across the Vakari computer networks. The Cascade virus had evolved far beyond his original design. It was now intelligent enough to rewrite itself and create new attack methods. The virus has infected 93% of all Vakari systems, he reported to the weekly command meeting. It is not just causing random failures anymore. It is actively working against them. Explain, requested Admiral Minho Lee. Watch this. Dong-Hyun activated a screen showing traffic control in a major Vakari city. The virus is now coordinating attacks across multiple systems. When emergency vehicles try to reach a sabotage site, the traffic computers send them in the wrong direction. When the military tries to respond to our strikes, their navigation systems develop convenient glitches. Dr. So-Young. Kim smiled grimly. The Empire's own infrastructure is fighting against them. It gets better, Dong-Hyun continued. The virus has learned to communicate with our field teams. When Sergeant Woo-Jin's infiltrators need to access a building, the virus unlocks the doors. When Captain Sheng-Huan's assassins need to escape, the virus disables pursuit vehicles. Intelligence Officer Da Yun-Han had been monitoring Vakari communications around the clock. The messages she intercepted were becoming more desperate each day. They are starting to panic, she reported. I have recordings of high-level military conferences where they discuss the possibility of full retreat from outer systems. Retreat where? Asked Commander Hyun-Woo Park. To their core worlds. They want to concentrate all remaining forces around their capital and most important planets. They are abandoning the frontier. This was exactly what Admiral Minho Lee had hoped for. A concentrated enemy was easier to target than scattered forces. Captain Ji-Hai Choi was leading the largest ghost ship operation yet attempted. 50 invisible vessels moved toward the Vakari stronghold at Vega. The system contained 6 heavily defended worlds and the Empire's largest military shipyard. All ships. Maintain formation, she ordered. Remember, we are not trying to occupy anything. We destroy everything and disappear. The ghost ships struck simultaneously across the entire system. Plasma beams lanced out from apparently empty space, tearing through Vakari defenses. The aliens fired back blindly, their weapons hitting nothing but vacuum. This is Admiral Vex Nalar to all Vakari forces. Came a desperate transmission. We are under attack by invisible enemies. Repeat, invisible enemies. Request immediate reinforcements. Negative, Admiral, came the reply from Vakari Command. All available ships are defending core systems. You are on your own. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Vega system was a graveyard of burning ships and shattered planets. The ghost ships vanished as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving only devastation behind. Communications specialist Haiwan Young had been working on her most ambitious project yet. A direct broadcast to every Vakari receiver in the galaxy. When she was ready, she activated the signal. Every screen, every radio, every communication device in Vakari space suddenly displayed the same message. It was a human face, Haiwan herself, speaking in perfect Vakari language. We are the ghosts of 10 billion dead, she said calmly. You thought you had exterminated us, but we survived. We watched. We learned. And now we have come for you. The transmission lasted only 30 seconds, but it was seen by every Vakari in the Empire. For the first time in their history, they understood they were facing an enemy that should not exist. Supreme Commander Vec Thalan convened an emergency session of the High Command. The revelation that humans were alive had shaken the Empire to its core. How many of them survived? He demanded. Unknown, sir, replied General Kexvaler. But based on their attack capabilities, possibly millions. Impossible. We counted the evacuation ships. There were not enough to save that many. Dr. Kev Thalan stepped forward. Sir, we may have underestimated their technology. If they had hidden bases or advanced ships we did not detect. Vec Thalan slammed his fist on the table. Find them. Use every sensor, every spy, every resource we have. I want to know where they are hiding. But finding humans in the vastness of space was like finding shadows in a dark room. The ghost ships left no traces. The infiltration teams vanished without evidence. The attacks came from everywhere and nowhere. Sergeant Wu Jin Kang was leading a mission on the Vakari industrial world of Tau Ceti A. His team had been studying the planet for months, learning its defenses and schedules. Tonight, they would strike at the power grid that supplied the entire northern continent. Remember, we are not here to kill civilians, he told his soldiers. Target the infrastructure, not the people. We are better than they are. The mission was flawless. Wu Jin's team planted charges at 17 power stations simultaneously. When the explosives detonated, half the planet went dark. Factories stopped working. Hospitals switched to emergency power. Transportation systems shut down. The Vakari military rushed to restore power, but every repair team faced new sabotage. The humans had planned for everything. Captain Sung Hwan-oh was running out of important targets. His assassination teams had eliminated so many Vakari, leaders that the Empire was running short of experienced commanders. The enemy is promoting younger officers to replace the dead, he reported to Admiral Min-ho Lee. These new leaders are more aggressive but less experienced. They are making mistakes. What kind of mistakes? They are trying to hunt us directly instead of defending their own assets. Yesterday, a Vakari fleet spent 6 hours chasing sensor ghosts while we destroyed their supply depot. The psychological pressure was breaking the Vakari war machine. Their leaders were paranoid and exhausted. Their soldiers jumped at shadows. Their civilians lived in constant fear of invisible attackers. Engineer Taemin Yoon had developed a new weapon that terrified even his own side. The quantum disruptor could make entire enemy ships simply disappear from reality. I do not like this weapon, he told Dr. So-Young Kim. It feels too much like playing God. The Vakari played God when they killed our world, she replied. Now it is our turn. The first test of the quantum disruptor was against a Vakari patrol fleet near Alpha Centauri. One moment the ships were there, the next they were gone. No explosion, no debris, no trace they had ever existed. Target eliminated, reported the ghost ship captain. No evidence of the weapon's use detected. The Vakari never even knew their ships were missing until they failed to report in. The crews, the vessels, everything had been erased from existence. As the second year of the war ended, the Vakari Empire was collapsing. They had less report. Asked G. 3 years after Earth died, Commander Hyun-woo Park stood on the bridge of the human flagship Eternal Remembrance as it slowly became visible above the Vakari homeworld. Around him, 100 ghost ships shimmered into sight like deadly stars appearing in a dark sky. The planet below was beautiful. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. It looked almost like Earth had looked before the burning, almost like home. Admiral Min-ho Lee to all ships, came the voice over the radio. We have arrived at the heart of the empire that murdered our world. Today we decide what humanity becomes. The Vakari homeworld was defenseless. Their great fleets were scattered wreckage floating in distant systems. Their mighty armies were dead or surrendered. Only 50 million Vakari remained alive in the entire galaxy, most of them on the planet below. Incoming transmission from the surface, reported communications specialist Hai Wan-young. It is Supreme Leader Kev Thalan. The alien appeared on the main screen. It was the same scientist who had warned his people about invisible enemies. Now he was the highest-ranking Vakari still alive. Human ships, he said in careful English. I am Supreme Leader Kev Thalan of the Vakari Republic. I wish to discuss terms of surrender. Admiral Min-ho Lee took the communication from his command ship. There are no terms, alien. You murdered 10 billion innocent people. You destroyed 23 other species before us. You turned genocide into a routine operation. I understand your anger, Kevthalan replied. What my people did was wrong, but I was not one of those who made that decision. Many of us opposed the extermination policy. Where were your voices when our children burned? Asked Admiral Minho Lee. Where was your opposition when you turned Earth into glass? Colonel Eugene Park monitored the conversation from her position near the planet's largest city. Her deep strike teams were ready to teleport down to any location within seconds. After 3 years of hunting Vakari across the galaxy, this felt strange, having all the remaining enemies in one place. Sir, the planet has no military defenses, she reported. No shields, no weapons, no troops. They are completely helpless, it was true. The mighty Vakari Empire had been reduced to one defenseless world. Every other planet was empty, its population dead or evacuated. Every ship was destroyed. Every leader except Kevthalan was gone, Dr. So Young. Kim sat in her laboratory aboard the medical ship Hope's End. In front of her was the final weapon, a biological agent that would kill every living thing on the planet below. One missile, launched into the atmosphere, would complete the extinction of the Vakari species. She had dreamed of this moment for 3 years. The chance to do to them exactly what they had done to Earth. But now that the moment was here, she felt empty instead of satisfied. Dr. Kim to Admiral Lee, she called. The final weapon is ready for deployment. 1 shot and they all die within a week. Understood, Doctor. Stand by. Intelligence Officer Da-Un Han was monitoring all communications from the planet. What she heard surprised her. The Vakari were not begging for their lives or plotting last-minute resistance. They were apologizing. Admiral, you need to hear this, she said. I am picking up broadcasts from across the planet. The Vakari they are holding memorial services. For their own dead? No, sir. For their victims. For Earth, for the 23 other worlds they destroyed. They are reading the names of every species they exterminated. It will take them days to finish the list. Admiral Minho Lee listened to the translated broadcasts. In cities across the Vakari homeworld, the surviving aliens were gathering to acknowledge their crimes. They spoke the names of dead worlds, dead civilizations, dead children who would never grow up. They know they are about to die, Da-Un continued. They want to spend their last days remembering the people they killed. Engineer Taemin Yoon was ready with the quantum disruptor. 1 shot from the terrible weapon would make the entire planet vanish from reality. No pain, no suffering, just instant non-existence for every Vakari. It would be quick, he reported to Admiral Minho Lee. They would not even know it happened. Captain Ji-Hai Choi commanded the orbital bombardment ships. Their weapons could turn the planet's surface into molten rock in a matter of hours. It would be exactly what the Vakari had done to Earth. Bombardment fleet ready, she reported. We can make them burn the same way our world burned. Sergeant Woojin Kang had infiltration teams ready to teleport to the surface. They could hunt down every Vakari survivor individually, making sure none escaped to rebuild their empire somewhere else. Ground team standing by, he reported. We can make this personal if you want, Admiral. But Captain Sung Hwano raised a different possibility. Sir, what if we do not kill them all? The question hung in the air like a challenge. After 3 years of war, after the deaths of 10 billion humans, the idea of mercy seemed impossible. Explain, Admiral Minho Lee demanded. The Vakari are defeated. They know it, we know it, the galaxy knows it. Killing them all now would make us exactly like them, a species that solves problems through extinction. Commander Hyunwoo Park turned away from the view screen. He had lost everything in the war, his home, his family, his entire world. The chance for revenge was right in front of him. They showed us no mercy, he said quietly. Which is why we should be better than them, replied Dr. So Young Kim over the radio. I have spent 3 years designing weapons to kill Vakari. But I did not become a scientist to commit genocide. I became a scientist to save lives. The debate continued for hours. Some officers wanted complete extinction, every Vakari dead, their homeworld destroyed, their species erased from history. Others argued for imprisonment, exile, or forced labor. A few suggested simply leaving them on their world and forbidding them from ever leaving. Finally, Admiral Minho Lee made his decision. Open a channel to the planet, he ordered. Supreme Leader Kevthalan appeared on the screen again. Behind him, the memorial services continued. Vakari voices recited the names of dead worlds in the distance. "I have listened to your memorial services," Admiral Minho Lee said. "Your people are acknowledging their crimes. That is more than we expected." "It is less than your dead deserve," Kevthalan replied. "But it is all we can offer. Here are my terms. All surviving Vakari will be relocated to a single world under human supervision. You will be allowed to live, but you will never again have the technology for space travel. Any attempt to build weapons or ships will result in immediate extinction. We accept. Furthermore, you will establish a permanent memorial to every species your empire destroyed. Your children will learn the names of your victims. Your culture will carry the burden of your crimes forever. We accept. Finally, representatives of your people will travel to Earth, what remains of it, and help us rebuild. You will spend the rest of your existence trying to undo the damage you have done." Kevthalan was quiet for a long moment. "And if we refuse these terms?" Admiral Minho Lee looked around his bridge. Every human officer was watching him, waiting for his answer. "Then we will complete your extinction in the next hour. The choice is yours." "We accept all terms," Kevthalan said immediately. "When do we begin the relocation?" 3 months later, the last Vakari transport ship landed on the world designated as their new home. It was a pleasant planet with good weather and fertile soil, but it had no technology more advanced than basic farming equipment. Commander Hyun-woo Park supervised the establishment of the Memorial Center. The building would contain the names and histories of every species the Vakari had destroyed. It would be the largest structure on their new world. "The memorial is ready," he reported to Admiral Minho Lee. 24 exhibits, one for each murdered species. The Earth exhibit is in the center. Dr. So-Young Kim destroyed her biological weapons in a ceremony broadcast across human space. "The war is over," she announced. "We will not need these again." Engineer Tae-min Yoon dismantled the quantum disruptor. "Some weapons are too terrible to exist," he explained. "Even for the good guys." Intelligence Officer Da-Yoon Han established a monitoring station to watch the Vakari survivors. Any sign of forbidden technology would trigger immediate intervention. "They are keeping their word," she reported after the first year. "No weapons, no ships, no attempts to contact other species. They are just living quietly." Captain Ji Hai Choi commanded the new Galactic Protection Fleet, human ships that patrolled the galaxy looking for other aggressive species. The lesson of Earth would not be forgotten. "We found another empire trying to exterminate a primitive species in the Andromeda sector," she reported during one mission. "We convinced them to reconsider their policy." "How did you convince them?" asked Admiral Minho Lee. "We showed them what happened to the last empire that tried genocide," Jihai replied. "They decided to try diplomacy instead." Sergeant Wu Jin Kang retrained his soldiers for peacekeeping missions. Instead of infiltration and sabotage, they now learned conflict resolution and protection of civilians. "It feels strange," he admitted to Colonel Eugene Park. 3 years ago we were hunters. Now we are guardians. The galaxy needs guardians," Eugene replied. "Too many species think might makes right. We have to show them a better way." 10 years after the war ended, Admiral Minho Lee visited the Vakari Memorial World. Supreme Leader Kevthalan, now an old alien, met him at the spaceport. 1 year after Earth burned, Admiral Minho Lee authorized the first major strike. The target was not a Vakari fleet or fortress. It was something much more important: their food supply. The planet Vakari Prime 7 produced grain that fed 30 billion aliens across 5 star systems. If that food disappeared, millions would starve. Hungry people do not fight wars very well. Dr. So-Young Kim had designed the perfect weapon for this mission. It was not a bomb or a poison. It was a tiny organism that ate only one specific type of plant, the grain that grew on Vakari Prime 7. "The organism will spread naturally through the air," she explained to the strike team. "In 6 months, every grain plant on the planet will be dead. It will look like a natural disease." Captain Ji Hai Choi commanded the mission. Her ghost ship carried 50 small containers filled with So-Young's organisms. The ship was completely invisible to Vakari sensors. "Landing in 10 minutes, reported Engineer Tae-min Yoon. "I am reading normal security patterns. They do not suspect anything." The planet below looked peaceful. Green fields stretched to the horizon. Automated machines harvested the grain while Vakari supervisors watched from air-conditioned offices. Sergeant Wu Jin Kang led the ground team. 20 soldiers in stealth suits moved across the fields at night. They opened the containers and released So-Young's organisms into the wind. Package delivered, Wu Jin reported. All teams returning to extraction point. The mission took 3 hours. The ghost ship left the planet before dawn. The Vakari never knew they had been there. 6 months later, every grain plant on Vakari Prime 7 was dead. The official report blamed climate change and poor farming practices. The Vakari rushed food supplies from other worlds, but it was not enough. Rationing began across their empire. Similar strikes hit 12 other agricultural worlds. The Vakari food supply dropped by 40% in 1 year, but they still did not understand they were under attack. Scientist Dong-Hyun Lim had a different target, Vakari computer networks. He created viruses that were smarter than normal programs. These viruses could learn and adapt, changing themselves to avoid detection. I call it the Cascade virus, he told Admiral Min-Ho Lee. Once it enters a Vakari system, it spreads to every connected computer, but it works slowly so they do not notice at first. Communications specialist Hai Wan-jung helped deploy the virus. She had learned to hack into Vakari networks without leaving traces. Her team planted the virus in hundreds of systems across the empire. The virus was patient. For months, it did nothing except copy itself and learn about Vakari technology. Then it began to cause problems. Traffic control systems in major cities started giving wrong directions. Banking computers began making small errors in financial calculations. Military databases developed mysterious gaps in their records. These computer problems are becoming serious, reported General Kex Valor to the Vakari High Command. Our technicians cannot find the cause. Then find better technicians, ordered Supreme Commander Vecthalan. He was getting tired of reports about technical difficulties. The Empire has been running smoothly for 1,000 years. A few computer glitches will not destroy us, but the problems were getting worse. Captain Sung Hwan-oh was using the chaos to hunt important Vakari leaders. His assassination team struck like lightning, killing their targets and vanishing before anyone could respond. Admiral Tex Nalar died when his personal transport crashed during takeoff. The official investigation blamed mechanical failure. No one suspected that Zheng Huan's team had sabotaged the engines. General Mex Kalar died of food poisoning at a diplomatic dinner. The official report blamed contaminated seafood. No one knew that a human infiltrator had put poison in his drink. 15 high-ranking Vakari are dead in the past 4 months, Sung Hwan reported to Admiral Min-Ho Lee. All deaths appear accidental or natural. The enemy is starting to suspect something, but they do not know what. Intelligence Officer Dayun Han monitored all Vakari communications. She was becoming expert at understanding their language and culture. What she learned worried her. Admiral, the Vakari are beginning to panic, she reported. Their leaders are dying, their computers are failing, and their people are hungry. Some of them are starting to ask questions. What kind of questions? Asked Commander Hyun-woo Park. Whether the technical problems might be connected, whether someone might be attacking them. Dayun paused. And whether the attack might be coming from a supposedly extinct species. This was the moment everyone had feared. If the Vakari realized humans were alive, they would send every ship in their fleet to hunt down the survivors. How close are they to the truth? Asked Admiral Min-Ho Lee. Some of their scientists are very smart. I intercepted a report from Dr. Kev Thalan suggesting that the problems might be sabotage, but most Vakari leaders are not listening to him. Why not? Because accepting that theory would mean admitting they made a mistake. The Vakari do not like admitting mistakes. Colonel Eugene Park commanded the newest branch of human operations, deep strike missions. Her teams used advanced teleportation technology, captured from the Vakari during Earth's evacuation. We can appear inside their most secure facilities, she explained to her squad leaders. Complete the mission and teleport out before they know we were there. The technology was dangerous. Sometimes people did not survive the teleportation process, but it was the only way to reach targets that were too well defended for conventional infiltration. Eugen's first major mission was a Vakari research station orbiting a black hole. The station was developing new weapons that could destroy entire star systems. If those weapons were completed, humanity would have no chance of survival. Team Alpha, you take the main laboratory, Eugen ordered. Team Beta, secure the computer core. Team Gamma, plant the charges. We have 30 minutes before their security systems detect us. The mission was perfect. Eugen's teams appeared inside the station, destroyed the weapons research, and vanished. The Vakari found their laboratory in ruins and their scientists dead, but they had no idea how it happened. Security recordings show nothing, the station commander reported. The attackers appeared from nowhere and disappeared the same way. This should be impossible. Back on Earth's moon, engineer Taemin Yoon was perfecting the ghost ship technology. The new ships were not just invisible, they were completely undetectable by any known method. "I have reversed the Vakari cloaking systems," he told Admiral Min-ho Lee. "Our ships can now hide from sensors, visual observation, and even gravitational detection. As far as Vakari instruments can tell, we do not exist." This breakthrough allowed much larger operations. Ghost ships could now attack multiple targets simultaneously without being traced back to their bases. Captain Ji Hai Choi led a fleet of 20 ghost ships against the Vakari military shipyard at Wolf 359. The shipyard was building new warships to replace those lost in mysterious accidents. "All ships, begin the attack," Ji Hai ordered. "Target the construction facilities first, then the completed ships." The ghost ships struck from every direction at once. Plasma beams and antimatter torpedoes tore through the shipyard's defenses. Within an hour, the facility was completely destroyed. The Vakari defenders never saw their attackers. Their sensors detected weapon fire coming from empty space. Their return fire hit nothing but vacuum. "This is impossible," the shipyard commander radioed to his superiors. "We are under attack by invisible enemies. Our weapons cannot target them." Invisible enemies? Supreme Commander Vek Thalan was getting reports of similar attacks across the Empire. "That is ridiculous. Run full sensor sweeps." "We have, sir. There is nothing there. But something is destroying our facilities." The attacks continued for 6 more months. Vakari military bases exploded without warning. Supply convoys vanished in deep space. Communication relays went silent one by one. Dr. So-Young Kim had developed her most terrible weapon yet, a biological agent that targeted Vakari civilians. It spread like a cold but was much deadlier. Infected Vakari died within a week, but they looked like victims of natural disease. "I do not like this weapon," she told Admiral Min-ho Lee. "It feels too much like what they did to us." "The difference is that we are giving them a choice," Min-ho replied. "They can surrender and live. We never got that option." Sergeant Woojin Kang's infiltration teams were operating on 50 different worlds. They moved through Vakari cities like ghosts, planting bombs and stealing information. The aliens were becoming afraid to leave their homes at night. Citizens are reporting strange sounds and shadows, Intelligence Officer Da Yun-han translated from intercepted communications. Some claim to have seen alien creatures in the darkness. The government is calling it mass hysteria. "It is not hysteria," communications specialist Hae Won-jung pointed out. "We are actually there." The psychological warfare was working better than expected. The Vakari had never faced an enemy they could not see or understand. Fear was spreading through their empire faster than any disease. Supreme Commander Vek Thalan called an emergency meeting of the High Command. The empire was falling apart, and he did not know why. "In the past 18 months, we have lost 47 military installations, 36 supply worlds, and over 200 ships," he announced. "Our food production is down 60%. Our computer networks are failing daily.